And absolutely no introduction necessary. Katie Fang has already sat this evening and sang your praises. Of course,
Yes. We'll talk mad stuff about you.
Yes, all of the secrets. The LGBTQ community, of course, needs no introduction. Jonathan Capehart, you're being recognized tonight in the National Leadership Award. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Here in South Florida. Being in an event like the National Task Force, what does it, as a gay man, what does it mean to you?
I've been trying to find the words. I remember way back when former Mayor Dinkins, another organization 15 years ago wanted to honor me. And I was like, why are they honoring me? Why did they? I haven't done anything. And he looked at me and he said, Jonathan, never deny anyone the opportunity to honor you. I was like, oh, when you put it like that. But to get this award from the task force really was, I mean, it's an honor that I can't really put into words. I'll try to do it tonight in my speech, but it's the National Leadership Award, which all I do is write and talk. That's what I do. But it's the task force that does the real hard work of like walking the halls of power and demanding equality and justice for us, for our community. And so for this organization to say, hey, we see you as a leader, we want to honor you, is just something that I hold right here. I don't know how else to.
You know, Jonathan, we do Queer News Tonight. We broadcast live LGBT evening news on Apple every night.
Oh.
And I'm a news junkie, and I probably could tell your resume better than you could. I've watched you all over. Morning Joe is one of my favorites. When you represent the way you do at Washington Post, at MSNBC, and being a person of color and being gay, what does all of those intersections in terms of doing the news and the representation that you have in news, what does that mean to you in terms of what you represent to the LGBTQ community?
Well, the great thing about being an opinion writer, so I'm a journalist, I do report, columnists do their own reporting, but the great thing is, as a columnist, once I do my reporting, I get to say what I think.
Yes.
And with a lot of the issues that, you know, are facing the country throughout my career, they have impacted me as a Black person, as a Black man, as an out gay man, as an out gay married man. And usually I'm the only one of any of those identities around that table at the editorial board meeting at the Washington Post, or not so much MSNBC because, you know, it's the rainbow at MSNBC, but certainly at PBS NewsHour. You know, I'm the Black gay man sitting at that table and saying, can we just call out what's happening here that's racist?
Yes.
And that's terrible. And the Republican Party needs
Or
to...
homophobic.
Or homophobic.
Absolutely.
And what's wonderful is I hear back, particularly from the PBS audience, saying to me, I never thought of it that way. Every time you're on, you make me think. And I think it's because I'm certainly the first out LGBTQ person in that role on Friday nights, first Black person in that role. And so now, after how many decades of seeing either two white men or white man and a white woman, but now there's an out gay Black man sitting at the table with a different perspective, but the same pedigree.
Yeah.
You can't discount.
That's amazing. You're speaking to the president tomorrow.
No,
correct?
that was yesterday.
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 How was that experience for you? I mean, as a LGBTQ representative, I mean, I could only imagine that must have been a really interesting
And
interview.
the full interview hasn't been published yet. Is that correct?
The full sit-down interview was broadcast yesterday on the readout. The walk and talk that we did, that was only supposed to be 5 minutes, but ended up being just under 10 minutes, airs tomorrow on my show, which I'm doing live from Miami tomorrow.
Coming, right.
The experience was, and I've interviewed President Biden many times, when he was vice president, when he was candidate for president this go around, vice president-elect. And we've got this interesting rapport, I think, where when we get to talking, we really talk. It's a conversation, and I feel like he feels comfortable talking with me. And so I wasn't freaked out in that regard, talking to him, because we've talked so many times before. I will say, I think he's running again, and definitely he loves the job. He absolutely loves the job. But the best part wasn't talking to him. The best part was riding on that ride. I got to ride on Air Force One, which was a dream.
Jonathan, I know your time is very precious here tonight as we're here at the Task Force Gala. One last question that we want to ask you about is what we're watching here in Florida. You're broadcasting your show tomorrow here. Florida seems to be the epicenter of even if I say it, hate, in terms of the culture wars that are going on. From your seat sitting in Washington, what do you think about what you're watching going on here in Florida?
It's breathtaking in a horrifying way. I'll say in my speech tonight that, when I came out to my mother 30 years ago, 32 years ago, 1990, first words out of her mouth were, "Don't tell anybody." America and journalism were two completely different things back then than they are now. There's been a lot of progress, but Florida and Texas and lots of other places are showing that with every step forward, there are a few steps back, and it requires us to constantly fight in the sense that every generation, I think it was Congressman Lewis, late Congressman Lewis, who said, every generation has to renew the fight for justice and renew the fight for progress. And if anything, Florida has reminded people that, yeah, you can see us on television. Yeah, we're on the stages of Broadway. We're now in boardrooms and everywhere. And yet, the focus now are on our children. And so now we've got to keep fighting.
Yes.
And it should be a fight that we join willingly, because it's not just for us, not just for our community, but it's also for our country. We are part of the fabric of this country, and we need to not only remember that, but we need to remind them that.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.